So since I uploaded my INFP video of David Lynch, I've been getting recommendations on INFP personality, etc., etc. But curiously, also a lot of videos about how to make an INFP like you, how to make this kind of personality like you. This video is for all of you who believe that they need to find a way to make a certain kind of personality type like them. And I'm gonna tell you, based on my own experience, why that's a bad idea. Why I would actually encourage you to not focus on that. Because it doesn't matter, it will actually shoot you in the foot. I guess I can just first tell you about my own experience of trying to make certain personality types like me more, or be interested in me romantically, or even just as a friend. I have to admit, with some social interactions, I still do that from time to time, not gonna lie, but especially when it comes to romance, I totally dropped it. What I used to do when I was, I think in my early 20s, I would try to, usually it would be something like, try to be more like an INTJ. If you want to know my take on the INTJ personality, by the way, you can find it in the description box. I've written a blog article about this personality type. So yeah, I would basically try to be more like that, because the kinds of people I was interested in, both romantically and platonically, were types like ESFP, ISFP, and with like ENFPs, I would try to be more maybe like an INFP or something like that. So I would try to appeal to their functions because I knew which functions they valued. It's sneaky, but at the same time it's also stupid because it doesn't work. So what happens is you have to put up this charade. I would have to basically keep acting like it, and it's tiring, exhausting. And it never went anywhere with any of these types, right? Like, never went anywhere. I mean, okay, I still have a friend group where I suspect that one of the girls is INFP, but you know, it's not a romantic relationship, so I think it's fine. I think with friendships, yes, ideally they would share all the same valued functions. And a step after that is basically if they share half of your valued functions. So in MBTI terms, that would be if they all have the 4 same functions as you, just in different order, or at least 2 of them. Or in Socionics, it goes more into quarters, right? But anyway, so yeah, that would be ideal. I also made a video about the platonic social compatibility between types, where you can find more, but overall I found that it's okay to be friends with every type. You can make it work as long as there's enough, in Socionics they call it psychological distance, right? As long as you don't try to create a lifestyle together, basically, as long as your lives are quite separate from one another and you just talk about like a specific topic usually, which is more related to the club in Socionics, and then it's fine, right? But the closer you get and the more you try to create something together or be very close, the more difficult it becomes. And that was also my experience with these types, like ESFP, ISFP, I don't know, especially romantically, right? It doesn't go anywhere, because if you focus too much on making this other personality type like you, you already lost. You should never have to focus on that. It doesn't make sense. I know, okay, for social situations, all right, I get it. Maybe if you want to, I don't know, get a job or whatever, I don't know. Maybe in those situations, or if you just want to get along with people on like a superficial social level, all right. I'm not gonna say you should not do any kind of functional stuff that would make things easier for you, because I have to admit, I also still do that. Around like any valuing type, any types, I tend to display a little bit more of SI if I can, but it's limited, it's very limited, but I still sometimes try. Or I don't know, I'm still somewhat aware that I'm trying to get on the other person's level, but the thing here is I'm very aware of what I'm doing, and I'm also aware of the fact that because you're not being yourself, right? Because you're like playing this role of a different type, you cannot establish a true connection. You will have a connection based on either a lie, or maybe not even a lie, but just things you don't truly care about that much. And I'd say for like casual friendships, that's fine. But as you move towards more serious kinds of relationships, even best friend relationships or like romantic relationships, it becomes more and more fatal. It becomes more and more of an issue. So like I said, in my case, never worked out with those personalities. And I just stopped with it. I just stopped doing it. I just gave up on it because it didn't work. It didn't go anywhere. The true thing you should do, or that would give you way more value in your relationships, is to just be your type. And the people who don't vibe with it, who cannot accept it, they will fall off, right? And the people who actually have compatible personality types will stick around, or they will be interested enough in you and what you have to say, etc. Like I said, you can be best friends with people even if they have only half of your valued functions, for instance. I see that quite a lot, also with best friends. But for romantic relationships, I also see it. It's also quite common, but I personally don't prefer it. I don't favor it. I don't do it. And I also have to admit, in my general, like usually in my recommendations, I don't advise people to go for those kinds of matches. The cool thing is you don't even necessarily have to overthink it that much. You can actually just focus on you and your personality expression, because the more you inhabit your own personality, the more likely you're gonna attract someone who has a personality that's compatible with that. So you don't even necessarily have to know what are their valued functions, etc., etc. It can be a bonus, but people often lose the forest for the trees. What you really should do is focus on how can you be your best self, right? I mean, that's so classic advice. Just be your best self, the best version of yourself. But it's true, because that will shine like a light brightly, like what's it called in English? Like lighthouse. It's going to be like a lighthouse, right? Like your light is going to shine so far, and it's going to attract the person. The person's going to see it and recognize it and then come to you. Now, this is especially the case if you are female, because it's like the male-female dynamic, right? But even with men, if you do that as a guy, as a masculine male, let's say, whatever your type is, then also a woman will recognize it, and she will most likely choose you over some other guy. Now, I have to say, unfortunately, that's not always the case either, because there are still social dynamics at play where people try to choose someone who fits some kind of social stuff, right? Like a guy who's like stereotypically masculine, generally speaking, will still be favored more in certain circles than a more feminine guy, even if the types are more compatible with that other guy. So it depends, but I still believe, and it has been my experience as well, that the more you, like I said, exhibit the best of your personality, which in my terms is your purpose role, the more you exhibit the functioning of your purpose role around, potential mates or matches, then these people are going to recognize it and will be more attracted to that, and they will come to you, and then, or you will come to them, right? Like you will just vibe with each other much easier. And I also experienced it myself after like a few years of this BS. I was like, okay, this is not working. Around the time I also came across the socionics theory of compatibility, which was also way more accurate than MBTI for me, because it never made sense for me that ENFP and INFJ, for example, would be a good match based on the cognitive functions. It doesn't make any sense. With socionics, it made way more sense. So then I started focusing more on types that would complement my own valued functions. And I basically had that in the back of my mind, as well as just expressing myself and what I'm interested in like to the utmost of my ability. So I was able to do that, and then in turn, yeah, I found my match, you could say, or my match found me, or vice versa, I guess. Yeah, so then that came into my life. But before I dropped the charades, it didn't happen, right? As long as I was focusing on how can I make someone like me, a different personality, most likely a personality that doesn't match mine, the longer I kept people away from me that actually match with my personality. So this is a very long-winded way of saying that you should stop focusing on how to make other personality types like you, because once you are the best version of your own personality type, the right kinds of personalities will like you automatically. You don't even have to do that much. That's common sense, and it's also what has been the case for me. You don't even have to try that much anymore. You don't have to try that hard to, you know, make them like you, whatever. As long as you are confident in yourself, and as long as you exhibit the light side, the high side of your personality, then these other compatible personalities will be attracted to you. This is really the best way. This is the ultimate way. So I'm not gonna, in other words, I'm not gonna make any videos about how to make an INFP like you, how to make a blah blah type like you, or how whatever, because it's stupid, okay? It's stupid. It's the wrong focus. You should not do that. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I mean, it might work temporarily, but then at what cost, right? Down the line, let's say you get into a relationship with this kind of personality because you were like putting up a front and acting a certain way. At some point, the mask is going to drop, and they're going to be like, what the hell am I with in this relationship? Like, what the hell is this who the hell is this person, right? So either that could happen, right? Like, and then it falls apart, or even that doesn't happen that much, but then later down the line, you feel like, I don't even like this person. I don't like their personality. I don't like them. They don't like me, whatever. Or, yeah, I know people, when they are very, very much attracted to some kind of person, it can be very hard to just, I don't know, be like, yeah, whatever, I'm not gonna go for this person because of the personality stuff. I get it. Like, if you're very attracted, whatever, you want to make it work, you want to make them like you or whatever, but it doesn't work. Just drop it. So anyway, okay, that was my rant. If you want to know more about personality types, just keep watching my videos, subscribe, and check out my blog articles. And yeah, I can also type you, I can coach you. And also, I actually have a course that shows you how to essentially become a better partner in a relationship. It basically shows you how to take care of your emotional self and also your Enneagram needs and things like that. So these things will actually literally help you being the better version of yourself, which in turn will help you attract a better kind of match. Yeah, that's all for this video, and see you next one. Bye.